The note was written in Arabic. Elegant script on expensive paper, slipped beneath a crystal water glass at table 12. Emma Torres stared at it like it might explode. Friday night at the Pinnacle restaurant, 73 floors above Manhattan. Emma had been a waitress here for 8 months, invisible, efficient, the shy girl who never spoke unless spoken to. She cleared plates for people who tipped more than her monthly rent, served wine that cost more than her father's medication, and went home each night wondering if this was all her life would ever be. But the man at table 12 was different. Sheikh Khalid al-Rashid sat alone in the corner booth, tension radiating off him like heat. 32 years old, billionaire heir to one of the largest oil empires in the Middle East. His face had graced Forbes covers. His business deals shifted global markets. Tonight, he wore a tailored black suit and barely touched his $200 steak. When Emma approached to refill his water, he looked up at her with eyes that held something she recognized instantly: desperation. "Do you read Arabic?" His voice was low, accented, urgent. Emma's throat went dry. Her college roommate Layla had been from Jordan. During late-night study sessions, Layla taught her basic Arabic script. Just enough to help with translation assignments. Just enough to be dangerous. "A little," Emma whispered. "Not fluently." Hit subscribe and drop where you're watching from. This decision changes 2 lives. The Sheikh slid the note toward her with trembling fingers. "Please. Read this. Tell me what it says. I'll pay you anything." Emma picked up the paper. The handwriting was beautiful, but the words made her blood run cold. "Your brother has 48 hours. The evidence goes public unless you withdraw from the Alexandria deal. This is your only warning." She translated slowly, watching the Sheikh's face drain of color. "Your brother. Someone's threatening him. They want you to back out of the Alexandria deal or they'll release evidence. You have 2 days." Khalid gripped the edge of the table. "My brother is innocent. This is blackmail. Fabricated evidence designed to destroy my family and force me out of the largest oil contract in the Mediterranean." His voice dropped to barely a whisper. "If I translate this officially through channels, it becomes public record. The scandal starts before I can even defend him." Emma should walk away. This wasn't her problem. But something about the raw fear in his eyes kept her frozen. "There's something else," Khalid continued, his voice shaking. 3 days ago, someone cut the brakes on my car. I survived by luck. My security team thinks the assassination attempt and this blackmail are connected. Whoever sent this isn't just trying to ruin me. They're trying to kill me." The restaurant noise faded to background static. Emma realized she was holding her breath. Khalid pulled out a business card and wrote an address on the back. "Upper East Side. Time, 6 a.m. tomorrow. Come to this address. Alone. I need someone I can trust who has no connection to my world. Someone invisible to the people trying to destroy me." His dark eyes locked onto hers with devastating intensity. "Help me figure out who's behind this. Help me save my brother. And I'll pay you $50,000. $50,000. Emma's father's medical debt. Her abandoned college degree. Everything she'd sacrificed could be restored with one word." But before she could answer, Khalid said something that made the floor drop out from under her feet. "And if you help me survive what's coming, if you translate their threats, keep my secrets, and help me expose whoever is trying to kill me, then the Sheikh is yours." Emma's heart stopped. The way he said those words held weight beyond money. Beyond business. Something deeper that she couldn't name but felt in her bones. "What does that mean?" Khalid pulled a small velvet box from his jacket. Inside was a ring. Heavy gold with an engraved crest. "This was my father's signet ring. In my culture, giving someone this ring means they're under my personal protection. No one can touch them. They become part of my inner circle. He paused. Help me through the next 48 hours, and this ring is yours. My protection. My trust. My word that you'll never be invisible again. Emma stared at the ring. At the man offering her a way out of shadows she'd lived in for years. She took the card. I'll be there. Relief and something else, something that looked almost like hope, flooded Khalid's face. Thank you. And Emma? Be careful. Whoever is doing this has unlimited resources and no conscience. Coming to help me might be the most dangerous thing you've ever done. Emma nodded and walked away, her hands shaking so badly she nearly dropped a tray of wine glasses. Her manager shot her a dirty look, but she didn't care. 14 hours from now, her life would either transform completely or end in disaster. She had no idea which. 6 a.m. Next morning. The penthouse door was already open when Emma arrived. Blood, dark and still wet, trailed across white marble from the doorway into the shadows beyond. Her finger hovered over 911 on her phone. Then she heard Khalid's voice from inside, speaking rapid Arabic. Scared. Desperate. She stepped inside. The penthouse stretched before her like a palace, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Manhattan's dawn skyline, furniture worth more than her entire childhood home, art that belonged in museums. And blood. Leading toward the back hallway. I'm here, Khalid's voice called from deeper in the apartment. Emma followed the trail to the master bathroom. Khalid stood in front of the mirror, wearing dark slacks and a white shirt with sleeves rolled up. His usually perfect hair was disheveled. His face was ashen. The mirror was covered in Arabic script. Written in blood. You came. He turned to face her. I wasn't sure you would. You said you needed help. Emma forced herself to look at the message. What happened? Someone broke into my home last night. Passed every security system in this building. They left this message while I slept. His voice cracked. I woke up 30 minutes ago and found it. Emma stepped closer, forcing herself to focus on the elegant calligraphy instead of the fact it was written in blood. She began translating. You ignored the first warning. Now Tariq pays the price. Check the news. 48 hours to withdraw from Alexandria, or your family name is destroyed forever. Khalid pulled out his phone. CNN loaded. The headline made Emma's stomach drop. Breaking, Tariq al-Rashid arrested in Dubai on drug trafficking charges. 20 kilograms heroin found in diplomatic luggage. No. Khalid's voice broke. Tariq doesn't touch drugs. He's 24. He's in medical school. Someone framed him. Someone with enough power to manipulate an international arrest. This is real. Subscribe and comment your location, you won't believe what happens next. Emma's mind raced. The building has security. How did they get in? That's the problem. This building has biometric security. Only 4 people have penthouse access. Me, my head of security Vincent, my cousin Yasmin, and the building owner. Khalid's eyes darkened. Which means someone I trust completely is trying to destroy me. Before Emma could respond, heavy footsteps thundered across marble. The front door slammed. Khalid. Where are you? A man's harsh voice. Vincent Cross appeared in the bathroom doorway, military bearing, shoulder holster, eyes like steel. Those eyes locked onto Emma, and his hand moved toward his gun. Who the hell is she? Vincent, this is Emma. The translator I told you about. You brought a stranger here. After everything? Vincent pulled out his phone, showing Khalid security footage. Emma's face. Timestamp, 5:47 a.m. Emma's phone said 6 a.m. I wasn't early, Emma stammered. Vincent's expression was stone. Footage shows 5:47. The blood message was written between 5:30 and 6 o'clock. You had access and opportunity. Wait. Khalid grabbed the phone. Look at the timestamp. It skips. Someone edited the footage. Vincent studied it. 14 seconds missing at 5:46. Someone with access to building security did this. Khalid's voice hardened. Someone in my inner circle who can hack systems and get past biometric scanners. Emma's forensic linguistics class flashed through her mind. The handwriting. Look at the pressure patterns. The writer used their non-dominant hand to disguise their style. This is professional calligraphy. I can barely read Arabic, let alone write like this. Vincent's hostility shifted slightly. You studied forensics? 1 semester. Before I dropped out. Khalid made a decision. He pulled out the velvet box and opened it. The gold signet ring gleamed. 24 hours. Emma helps us find who's behind this. If she's involved, we'll know. If she's innocent, we need her skills. He held out the ring to Emma. Still willing to help? Emma thought about her father's hospital bills. Her abandoned dreams. 8 months of invisibility. And a man who looked at her like she actually mattered. She took the ring. Let's save your brother. 2 hours later, Emma sat in the back of Khalid's armored Mercedes as it crawled through Brooklyn morning traffic. Vincent drove in silence, his eyes constantly checking the rearview mirror. Khalid sat beside Emma, tension radiating off him in waves. The ring felt heavy on Emma's finger. Too heavy. Like wearing someone else's life. Dr. Helena Grant is the best forensic document examiner on the East Coast, Khalid said quietly. If anyone can identify who wrote that message, it's her. She's testified in federal cases, worked with the FBI, analyzed documents for the Supreme Court. And she'll keep this confidential? Emma asked. She owes me. I funded her research lab 5 years ago when no one else would. She's completely loyal. Vincent's eyes flicked to the mirror. Loyal like your cousin Yasmin. Loyal like your Uncle Omar. Loyal like everyone else who might be trying to kill you. Khalid's jaw clenched. Helena is different. They pulled up to a converted warehouse in Red Hook. Dr. Helena Grant's lab occupied the 3rd floor, all exposed brick, high-tech equipment, and floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the harbor. Helena herself was in her 50s, silver-haired and sharp-eyed, wearing a white lab coat over designer jeans. Khalid. She embraced him warmly, then studied Emma with undisguised curiosity. And you must be the translator. The waitress who reads Arabic. Emma's cheeks burned. Emma Torres. Don't be embarrassed. I worked 3 jobs to put myself through grad school. There's no shame in honest work. Helena gestured to a high-tech examination table. Now, show me what you brought. Vincent pulled out his phone, displaying photos of the blood-written mirror message. Helena's expression shifted immediately from warm to coldly analytical. Theatrical blood. Movie grade. See the consistency? This wasn't meant to terrify so much as send a message. She zoomed in on specific letters. And the calligraphy is exceptional. Professional training. Years of it. Khalid pulled up another photo on his phone. The family document from his office, signed by his Uncle Omar. Can you compare them? Helena studied both images in silence for 3 minutes. When she finally spoke, her voice was grave. Same writer. But the person is deliberately trying to disguise it. The blood message was written with the non-dominant hand. See here. She pointed to pressure patterns invisible to the naked eye. These micro-variations don't lie. It's your uncle, Khalid. I'm 98% certain. The color drained from Khalid's face. Emma watched something break inside him. Omar had raised him after his father died. Omar had taught him everything. Subscribe now, betrayal is only the beginning. Why would he do this? Khalid's voice was barely a whisper. What does he gain? Money. Power. Revenge. Vincent crossed his arms. The Alexandria deal is worth $6 billion. Maybe Omar wants a bigger cut. Maybe he thinks he should be running the empire instead of you. There's something else. Helena pulled up another analysis on her computer. The paper the original restaurant note was written on. It's not Middle Eastern. It's American. High-end stationery only sold in 3 boutique shops in the U.S. Emma leaned forward. Can you trace which shop? Already did. One is in Los Angeles, one in Miami, and one in Manhattan. 5 blocks from the Pinnacle restaurant. Helena pulled up a receipt image. The Manhattan shop keeps detailed records. Someone purchased 50 sheets of this exact paper 3 weeks ago. Paid cash. But the shop owner remembers the buyer. She pulled up a photo from the shop's security camera. A woman in her 30s, dark hair, expensive clothes. Strikingly beautiful. Khalid's face went white. No. No, that's not possible. You know her. Vincent stepped closer. That's Yasmin. My cousin. Khalid's hands trembled. She lives in my building. She has penthouse access. She's family. Emma felt ice spread through her veins. Could she and Omar be working together? They hate each other, Khalid said. Have for years. Family politics. They barely speak at gatherings. Maybe that was an act. Vincent pulled out his phone. I'm running a deep background check on both of them. Financial records, travel history, communications. Wait. Emma stared at the security photo. Something was wrong. Look at her left hand. She's carrying shopping bags from 3 different stores. All with timestamps visible on the receipts sticking out. Helena zoomed in. The receipts showed times ranging from 2:47 p.m. to 3:15 p.m. So. Vincent frowned. So the stationery shop owner said the paper was purchased at 2:55 p.m. according to his records. But Yasmin was at another store 8 blocks away at 2:53 p.m. Emma pointed to the timestamp. She couldn't have been in both places 2 minutes apart. Khalid stared at Emma. Someone used her as a decoy. Made sure she was visible on cameras near the stationery shop but timed it so she'd have an alibi. Which means we're dealing with someone extremely careful. Helena pulled up a map of Manhattan. Someone who knows security systems, camera placements, and how to frame people convincingly. Vincent's phone buzzed. His face went dark. We have a problem. Yasmin's apartment was just broken into. NYPD is on scene. Neighbors reported hearing screams 30 minutes ago. They raced back to the car. 28 minutes later, Emma stood in the doorway of Yasmin's 68th floor apartment while police officers took photographs. The place had been destroyed. Furniture overturned. Files burned in the sink. Blood, real blood this time. Splattered across the white walls. But Yasmin was gone. No body. No signs of where she was taken. The detective in charge flipped through his notebook. Neighbors heard a woman screaming, then silence. That was 9:47 a.m. We arrived at 10:05. Whoever took her had an 18-minute head start. Khalid moved through the wreckage like a ghost. Emma followed, her heart hammering. In the bedroom, someone had written a message on the wall in the same blood-red ink from the penthouse mirror. You're getting too close. Stop now or Emma dies next. Emma felt the world tilt. Her name. They knew her name. Need to know who's behind this. Subscribe, it gets worse. They're targeting you now. Vincent stepped in front of Emma, his hand on his gun. "You're not leaving my sight. Not until this is over." Khalid picked up something from the floor. A plane ticket. Dated 2 weeks ago. Tariq's name printed on it. A flight from Dubai to New York that Tariq never took. Why would Yasmin have Tariq's unused ticket? Emma asked. Unless she was in Dubai. Khalid pulled out his phone and called someone. Spoke rapid Arabic. His face went progressively whiter. When he hung up, his voice was hollow. Yasmin visited Tariq 3 weeks ago. Stayed at his apartment for 2 days. She had a key made. My contacts in Dubai just confirmed, someone used that key to enter his apartment the night before his arrest. Someone planted the drugs while he was sleeping. So Yasmin framed Tariq. Vincent holstered his gun. But now she's been taken. By who? Emma moved closer to the wall message. Something about the handwriting was different. She pulled out her phone and compared it to photos of the penthouse mirror message. This wasn't written by the same person. Look at the letter formation. The pressure is all wrong. This is someone trying to copy the original writer's style but failing. Helena had given them a portable analysis kit. Emma used it, hands shaking. The results loaded on the small screen. The ink is different too. The penthouse message used theatrical blood. This is real human blood. Type AB negative. Rare. Vincent pulled up Yasmin's medical records. She's O positive. Then whose blood is this? Khalid asked. Emma's phone buzzed. Unknown number. A text message loaded. An image. Yasmin, tied to a chair in a dark room. Alive but terrified. A man's hand visible in the frame, holding a knife to her throat. Below the image, a message in Arabic. Emma translated, her voice shaking. Khalid has 40 hours to withdraw from Alexandria. If he doesn't, Yasmin dies. Then Emma. Then Tariq. One by one, everyone you love. Until you have nothing left. Midnight deadline tomorrow. Choose wisely. Khalid stared at the phone. At the image of his cousin bound and terrified. At the countdown timer that had just started. 40 hours until someone he loved was murdered. And they still had no idea who was really behind it. Vincent's phone rang. He answered, listened, and his face went gray. That blood on the wall. DNA analysis just came back. It's not Yasmin's. Then whose is it? Emma whispered. Vincent's voice was barely audible. It's yours. Emma stared at Vincent like he'd spoken a foreign language. That's impossible. How would they have my blood? Vincent's jaw was set. When was the last time you had blood work done? The question hit Emma like ice water. 3 months ago. My father's doctor recommended I get tested for genetic markers. Presbyterian Hospital on the Upper West Side. Medical records can be hacked. Khalid's voice was tight. Patient blood samples can be stolen. Whoever is doing this has been planning for months. They knew I'd need a translator eventually. They've been watching you. The thought made Emma's skin crawl. Someone had been tracking her. Stealing from her. Preparing to destroy her long before she ever met Khalid. They left Yasmin's destroyed apartment with a police escort. Vincent insisted on taking them to a safe house in Queens instead of back to Khalid's penthouse. 20 minutes later, Emma stood in a nondescript brownstone with bars on the windows and enough security cameras to film a movie. Khalid paced the living room like a caged animal. 40 hours. We have 40 hours to find Yasmin, clear Tariq, and figure out who's orchestrating this before people start dying. We need to go back to the beginning. Emma sat down at the dining table, pulling out her phone. The first threat came at the restaurant. Someone slipped that note under your water glass. Who had access to your table before I approached? Khalid stopped pacing. 3 people. The host who seated me. A busboy who cleared the previous table setting. And he trailed off, his face going pale. And who? Vincent pressed. My uncle Omar. He was at the Pinnacle that night. I saw him across the restaurant with business associates. He came over to my table to say hello about 20 minutes before you brought me water. Emma's mind raced. Did he touch anything? Your glass. The table? Yes. He straightened my napkin. Said the restaurant was too casual for a man of my station. Khalid's voice went hollow. He could have slipped the note under the glass then. I wouldn't have noticed. Vincent pulled out his laptop and started typing furiously. I'm pulling the Pinnacle's security footage from that night. If Omar placed the note, we'll have him on camera. While Vincent worked, Emma studied the photo of Yasmin tied to the chair. Something about the background bothered her. The walls looked industrial. Concrete. Exposed pipes visible in the upper corner. This isn't a warehouse, Emma said quietly. Look at the pipe configuration. That's residential plumbing from the 1950s. This is probably a basement. Old building. Brooklyn or Queens based on the construction style. Khalid stared at her. How do you know that? My father was a building inspector before he got sick. I spent my childhood learning to identify construction types. Emma zoomed in on another detail. See this? That's a steam radiator. The kind they stopped installing in the 1960s. This building is at least 60 years old. Subscribe, every detail matters now. Vincent looked up from his laptop. Got it. The Pinnacle footage from Friday night. He turned the screen around. The video showed Khalid's table from a corner angle. Omar approached, leaned down, spoke to his nephew. His hand moved to straighten the napkin, and in one smooth motion, he slid something beneath the water glass. The entire movement took less than 3 seconds. He did it right in front of me, Khalid whispered. Right in front of me, and I didn't see it. Because you trusted him. Vincent pulled up another file. I've been digging into Omar's finances for the past hour. He's drowning in debt. Gambling losses totaling $2 million over the past 18 months. He owes money to some very dangerous people. He never said anything. Khalid sank into a chair. Why wouldn't he come to me? I would have helped him. Maybe that's the problem. Emma spoke carefully. Maybe he didn't want to ask for help. Maybe he wanted to take what he thought should have been his all along. Vincent pulled up more files. The Alexandria oil deal is worth $6 billion. If Omar could force you out and install himself as CEO, he'd control everything. He could pay his debts and still have billions left over. But he can't do it alone. Khalid stood up, his mind clearly working. He'd need someone inside Magnus Energy to coordinate with. Someone to help him manipulate the board votes, forge evidence, frame Tariq. Emma remembered something from Yasmin's apartment. The burned files in her sink. We never checked what was in them. Vincent pulled up crime scene photos on his laptop. Enhanced images of partially burned documents. Looks like correspondence. Emails, maybe. But the text is too damaged to read. Can we recover them? Emma asked. Digital forensics might be able to pull something from the charred sections. Vincent made a call to his tech team. They'll need a few hours. Khalid's phone buzzed. He looked at the screen and his face went rigid. It's a video message. From the same number that sent Yasmin's photo. He pressed play. Emma leaned in to watch. The video showed Yasmin in the same dark room, still tied to the chair. But now someone else was visible, a figure in a dark hood standing behind her. When they spoke, The voice was digitally distorted. Impossible to identify. Khalid. You have 38 hours. We're being generous. Here's proof your brother's drug charges are real. The hooded figure held up a document. Even on the small phone screen, Emma could see it was a bank statement. Tariq's name at the top. Transactions showing deposits of $200,000 over 6 months. Wire transfers from accounts in Colombia and Afghanistan. Drug money, the distorted voice continued. Your innocent little brother has been trafficking heroin for 8 months. The evidence is real. The charges are real. Unless you withdraw from Alexandria by midnight tomorrow, we release all of this to the media. Your brother goes to prison for life. Your family name is destroyed. And Yasmin dies on camera for the world to watch. The video ended. Khalid looked like he'd been gutted. Tariq wouldn't. He couldn't. The bank statement is fake. Emma grabbed the phone and zoomed in. Look at the font. That's Arial 12 point. Bank of Dubai uses Times New Roman 11 point for all official statements. This is a forgery. Vincent verified it on his laptop. She's right. Professional forgery, but still fake. They're trying to break you psychologically. It's working. Khalid's voice cracked. My brother is in a Dubai prison. My cousin is going to be murdered. And I have no idea who I can trust. Emma stood up. You can trust me. And we're going to find Yasmin before that deadline. How? Khalid looked at her with desperate eyes. Emma pulled up the photo of Yasmin in the chair again. This building. The radiator, the pipes, the concrete walls. There can't be that many 1950s residential buildings with this exact configuration in a 50-mile radius. Want to know if they find her? Subscribe now. Vincent was already typing. Cross-referencing building records with these specifications. Residential structures built between 1948 and 1962. Concrete construction. Steam heating systems still operational. The search took 4 minutes. The results loaded. 47 possible buildings across Brooklyn, Queens, and the Bronx. Too many to search in 38 hours. Vincent cursed under his breath. Emma studied the photo more carefully. In the very corner, barely visible, was a sliver of a window. Frosted glass. And through it, the faintest outline of something outside. She zoomed in until the pixels became visible. A sign. Green lettering on white. Only 2 letters visible, PH. It's a pharmacy sign, Emma breathed. She's in a basement across from a pharmacy with a green and white sign. Vincent filtered the search again. Only 3 buildings match all criteria. 1 in Astoria, 1 in Crown Heights, 1 in Flushing. Khalid was already grabbing his jacket. We check all 3. Now. Wait. Vincent held up his hand. This could be a trap. They want you to come looking. They're probably watching all 3 locations. Then we split up, Khalid said. Absolutely not. You're the primary target. You stay here with Emma. I'll take my team and check the locations. She's my cousin. I'm not sitting here while. You're not thinking clearly. Vincent grabbed Khalid's shoulders. If you die, Yasmin dies anyway. Tariq stays in prison. Your entire family empire collapses. You have to stay alive to save them. Khalid's phone buzzed again. Another message. This time just text. Omar didn't work alone. Check your cousin's bank records from last month. Then you'll understand why she helped us. Vincent pulled up Yasmin's financial records. His face went dark. 2 weeks ago, someone deposited $5 million into an offshore account in her name. Source, Magnus Energy Corporation. Emma felt the pieces clicking together. Yasmin was paid to help frame Tariq. She visited him, got a key made, planted the drugs. But then whoever hired her decided she was a liability. So they took her. Khalid stared at the financial records. She betrayed me for money, and now they're going to kill her anyway. We still have time, Emma insisted. Vincent, take your team. Check those 3 buildings. We'll coordinate from here. Vincent grabbed his gear and was out the door in 30 seconds. Emma and Khalid sat in silence. Finally, Khalid spoke. Why are you helping me? You could have walked away a dozen times. Taken the ring and disappeared. Emma looked at him. Really looked at him. Because you were right. I was invisible. For years. Nobody saw me. But you did. You saw me at that restaurant, and you gave me a choice. To stay invisible or to step into the light. She paused. I'm choosing the light. Khalid reached out and took her hand. The moment stretched between them. Then Vincent's voice crackled over the radio. Found her. Crown Heights location. But we have a problem. The building is rigged to explode. Khalid was already moving before Emma could stop him. I'm going. Don't argue. Vincent said the building is rigged. Which is exactly why I need to be there. Yasmin wouldn't betray me unless she was being threatened. They're using her as bait to draw me out. Khalid grabbed his jacket. You stay here where it's safe. Emma stepped in front of the door. No. You're not thinking straight. This is exactly what they want. Move aside, Emma. Make me. They locked eyes. Khalid's jaw clenched. I don't have time for this. Then listen for 30 seconds. Emma's voice was steel. You charging in there gets everyone killed. Yasmin dies. You die. And whoever is orchestrating this walks away clean with a $6 billion oil deal. Is that what you want? Khalid's hands shook. What am I supposed to do? Let her die? No. You let Vincent do his job while we figure out who's really behind this. Emma pulled out her phone, showing him the image of the hooded figure. This person isn't Omar. Wrong build. Look at the shoulders. Broader. Taller. Omar is 5'10" and thin. This person is at least 6 feet and athletic. Khalid stared at the image. She was right. So Omar has a partner. His voice went cold. Someone inside Magnus Energy who hired both Omar and Yasmin to destroy me. Emma's phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Just an address in Midtown Manhattan and a time, 2 p.m. 90 minutes from now. Below it, come alone. Bring Khalid. No security. Or Yasmin dies in the explosion. Khalid read over her shoulder. It's another trap. Obviously. Emma pulled up the address on Google Maps. It's a high-rise office building. Magnus Energy's corporate headquarters. Subscribe, the real enemy is about to show their face. Khalid's phone rang. Vincent. He answered on speaker. We evacuated the building. Bomb squad is here. The device is sophisticated, military grade with a remote trigger. Someone is watching us. The moment we try to disarm it, they can detonate. Vincent's voice was tight. Yasmin is alive but unconscious. They drugged her. We can't move her without setting off the bomb. Can the bomb squad disarm it? They're working on it. But they need time. At least 4 hours. We don't have 4 hours, Khalid said. We just got a message. Someone wants us at Magnus Energy headquarters in 90 minutes. Vincent cursed. It's a setup. They're splitting our resources. Half my team is here dealing with the bomb. They want you exposed and vulnerable. Then we give them what they want. Khalid's eyes hardened. We go to Magnus. And we end this. Absolutely not. I'm pulling everyone from Crown Heights. We'll meet you. No. You stay there and save Yasmin. Emma and I handle Magnus. Khalid, I can't protect you if. I'm not asking for permission, Vincent. I'm giving you an order. Save my cousin. We'll handle the rest. He hung up before Vincent could argue. Emma stared at him. You know this is exactly what they want. Yes. But they made a mistake. They think bringing me to their headquarters gives them the advantage. What they don't realize is that I know that building. I've been inside Magnus Energy 100 times for industry conferences. I know the exits, the security blind spots, the executive floor layout. Khalid pulled out his own phone and started typing. And I have friends inside who owe me favors. What kind of favors? The kind that get us into places we shouldn't be. 45 minutes later, Emma stood outside Magnus Energy's gleaming 60-story tower in Midtown. Khalid had made 3 phone calls during the drive over, speaking in rapid Arabic to people Emma couldn't identify. When they arrived, he looked calmer. More focused. Whatever happens in there, he said quietly, stay close to me. Don't trust anyone. And if I tell you to run, you run. Understand? Emma nodded, her heart hammering. They walked through the revolving doors into a marble lobby that screamed corporate power. Security desk. Turnstiles. Cameras everywhere. But Khalid walked past all of it like he owned the place, heading straight for a private elevator bank reserved for executive access. How are we getting up there without credentials? Emma whispered. Khalid pulled out a keycard from his pocket. I told you. I have friends. The elevator opened. They stepped inside. Khalid pressed the button for the 58th floor, executive offices. The doors closed. Who gave you that card? Emma asked. Someone inside Magnus who's tired of watching their company get used for blackmail and murder. Khalid's voice was tight. Not everyone there is corrupt. Some of them still have consciences. The elevator climbed in silence. Emma watched the floor numbers tick upward and tried to ignore the voice in her head screaming that this was insane. Floor 58. The doors opened. The executive level was empty. Too empty. No receptionist. No staff. Just pristine offices with glass walls and doors that should have been locked but weren't. Where is everyone? Emma's voice was barely a whisper. Evacuated. Khalid moved forward cautiously. My contact said the entire floor was cleared 30 minutes ago under the guise of a fire drill. They're expecting us. At the end of the hallway, one office had its lights on. Corner office. CEO suite. The door stood open. They approached slowly. Emma's every instinct screamed to run, but she stayed at Khalid's side. Inside the office, a man sat behind an enormous desk. Early 50s, silver hair, expensive suit, and a smile that could sell weapons to peacekeepers. Richard Steele. CEO of Magnus Energy. The man whose name had appeared on every document Emma had seen related to the conspiracy. Sheikh al-Rashid. So glad you could make it. Steele gestured to 2 chairs across from his desk. Please. Sit. We have much to discuss. Khalid didn't sit. Where's Yasmin? Safe. For now. Depending on how this conversation goes. Steele leaned back in his chair. I assume you figured out by now that your Uncle Omar is working with me. And that your cousin Yasmin made some poor financial decisions that put her in my debt. You framed my brother. Planted drugs. Blackmailed my family. I created opportunities for people to make choices. Steele's smile widened. Omar chose to sell you out because he's drowning in gambling debt. Yasmin chose to help me because I offered her $5 million and threatened her daughter. Everyone has a price, Khalid. Even you. What do you want? The Alexandria oil deal. You withdraw your bid. Publicly. Tomorrow morning. In exchange, I release Yasmin unharmed. The evidence against Tariq disappears. Your family reputation stays intact. You walk away clean. And you get $6 billion. I get what should have been mine from the beginning. Steele stood up. Your father blocked me from that contract 15 years ago. He used his political connections, his family influence, everything to shut Magnus out. Well, your father is dead. And now it's my turn. Need to know how this ends? Subscribe right now. Emma watched Khalid's face. Something shifted in his expression. Something cold and calculating. You're right, Khalid said quietly. Everyone has a price. But you made a mistake. You assumed mine was family. Steele's smile faltered. What? You assumed if you threatened my brother, my cousin, my uncle, I'd fold. You assumed blood loyalty was my weakness. Khalid pulled out his phone. But what you didn't realize is that I've spent the last 3 hours recording everything. Every threat. Every message. Every piece of evidence you sent. He pressed a button. The phone's screen showed a live feed. Broadcasting. And for the past 90 seconds, this conversation has been streaming live to the FBI, the SEC, and every major news network in the country. Steele's face went white. You're bluffing. Am I? Khalid turned the phone around. The view count was climbing. Thousands. Tens of thousands. Comments flooding in. FBI agents in the feed confirming they were watching. Steele grabbed for something on his desk. A panic button. But Emma was faster. She'd taken a self-defense class 3 years ago when she still had money for such things. The instructor taught her that the element of surprise was everything. She crossed the distance between them in 2 steps and brought her phone down hard on Steele's wrist before he could press the button. Steele howled in pain. Khalid was already on his phone, calling Vincent. We have him. 58th floor. Magnus Energy. Tell the FBI to move in. The office door burst open. Not FBI. Not Vincent. Omar al-Rashid stood there with a gun in his hand. I'm sorry, nephew, Omar said quietly. But I can't let you destroy my only chance to get out of debt. Khalid stared at his uncle. The man who raised him. The man who taught him everything about honor and family. Uncle, please. You don't have to do this. Yes, I do. Omar's hand shook, but the gun stayed level. Steele promised me $20 million. Enough to pay my debts and disappear. But only if I make sure you withdraw from Alexandria. One way or another. Emma's mind raced. Omar was 10 feet away. Too far to disarm. The gun was pointed at Khalid. If Omar fired, Khalid died. But Emma noticed something. Omar's eyes weren't on Khalid. They kept flicking to the phone in Khalid's hand. The phone broadcasting live to thousands of people. You're on camera, Emma said quietly. The whole world is watching. If you shoot him, you'll never escape this. Never. Omar's face crumbled. I'm already dead. The people I owe money to will kill me if I don't pay. Steele will kill me if I don't do this. I'm dead either way. No, you're not. Khalid's voice was gentle. Sad. Uncle, put down the gun. Let the FBI arrest Steele. Testify against him. You'll get a reduced sentence. Witness protection. A chance to start over. And spend 20 years in prison. Omar laughed bitterly. No. I'd rather die. The gun shifted. No longer pointing at Khalid. Pointing at Omar himself. Uncle, no. The door exploded inward. FBI agents flooded the room. Tactical gear. Weapons drawn. Shouting commands. Omar dropped the gun and fell to his knees, sobbing. Richard Steele was on the floor, hands behind his back, an agent reading him his rights. Emma stood frozen, adrenaline making her shake. Khalid grabbed her hand. It's over. You're safe. It's over. But Emma's phone buzzed. One final message. From the unknown number. Steele was just the middleman. The real person behind this was never in that room. Check Omar's bank records carefully. You'll see who paid him first. Before Magnus. Before everything. And then you'll understand, this was never about oil. It was always about you. Emma showed Khalid the message. His face went pale. Because whoever was really behind this conspiracy was still out there. And they'd just gotten away with everything. 3 hours later, Emma sat in a FBI field office in Lower Manhattan watching agents dismantle Richard Steele's life in real time. Bank records. Email servers. Corporate documents. Everything that proved he'd orchestrated the conspiracy against Khalid's family. But none of it answered the question burning in Emma's mind. Who paid Omar first? Khalid paced the conference room like a caged animal. Vincent stood by the window, arms crossed, watching his employer fall apart. The bomb squad had successfully disarmed the device in Crown Heights. Yasmin was in the hospital recovering from sedatives. Tariq's charges in Dubai were being dropped, the fabricated evidence exposed. The nightmare should have been over. Except for that final message. Agent Torres, no relation to Emma despite the shared last name, pulled up Omar's financial records on the large screen. We traced every deposit into his accounts for the past 2 years. Magnus Energy paid him $5 million 3 weeks ago. That's confirmed. But there's another payment that came in 6 months earlier. $2 million from an offshore account we can't immediately trace. Can you trace it eventually? Khalid's voice was tight. We're working on it. These shell companies are layered. Could take days. Maybe weeks. We don't have weeks. Khalid slammed his hand on the table. Someone else is out there. Someone who started this before Steele ever got involved. Emma stared at the screen. Something about the timeline bothered her. 6 months ago. What was happening with the Alexandria deal 6 months ago? Khalid pulled out his phone, scrolling through calendar entries. That's when the bidding process opened. Only 3 companies were invited to submit proposals. Magnus Energy, my company, and... He stopped. His face went ashen. And who? Emma pressed. Crawford International. An American oil exploration company run by... Khalid couldn't finish the sentence. Vincent did it for him. Run by Vanessa Crawford. Your ex-wife. The room fell silent. Emma remembered the background Khalid had given her during the drive to Magnus. He'd been married for 3 years to an American woman named Vanessa. Met her at a Harvard business conference. Fell hard. Married fast. Divorced faster when she realized the prenuptial agreement meant she only got $5 million in the settlement while his empire was worth hundreds of millions. She changed her name back to Crawford after the divorce, Khalid said quietly. Started her own oil company using the settlement money. I thought she'd moved on. Built her own life. Or she spent 2 years planning revenge. Vincent pulled up his own laptop. Give me 5 minutes. He worked in silence while Emma watched Khalid process the possibility that his ex-wife might have orchestrated everything. The blackmail. The frame job on Tariq. The assassination attempt. All of it. Vincent's expression grew darker with each passing minute. Finally, he turned his screen around. Crawford International submitted a bid for the Alexandria contract 6 months ago. It was rejected. The company doesn't have the infrastructure or capital to compete. But 2 weeks after the rejection, $2 million was transferred from a Crawford International offshore account to Omar's account in the Cayman Islands. Khalid stared at the evidence. She paid Omar before Steele did. She started this whole thing. But why involve Steele at all? Emma asked. If she was orchestrating it, why bring in Magnus Energy? Because she needed someone with the resources to actually win the contract. Vincent pulled up more files. Crawford International can't compete with Khalid's company head-to-head. But Magnus can. Vanessa paid Omar to start the blackmail campaign, weaken Khalid psychologically, make him vulnerable. Then she approached Steele, probably offered him the Alexandria contract if he'd finished the job she started. Subscribe, the real betrayal is about to be revealed. Agent Torres leaned forward. Do we have proof Vanessa Crawford and Richard Steele communicated? Vincent pulled up phone records. Encrypted calls between Steele's personal cell and a number registered to Crawford International. 15 calls over the past 3 months. The most recent was yesterday morning, right before you got the threatening message at Yasmin's apartment. Khalid stood abruptly. Where is she now? Vincent checked. According to her travel records, she left the country yesterday. Private flight from Teterboro Airport to Toronto. Departed at 3 p.m. Canada. Khalid's voice was hollow. She knew we'd figure it out eventually. She's running. Canadian authorities can pick her up, Agent Torres said. We'll file for extradition based on. No. Khalid's voice cut through the room like a blade. I'll handle Vanessa myself. That's not how this works. She's a suspect in an international conspiracy. The FBI. The FBI has Steele and Omar. 2 men facing decades in federal prison. But Vanessa is the one who started this. She's the one who tried to have me killed. And I'm not letting her hide in Toronto while my family's name is dragged through the courts for months. Khalid pulled out his phone. I'm calling her. That's a terrible idea, Vincent said. If she's smart, she won't answer. Khalid dialed anyway. Put it on speaker. It rang 4 times. Then a woman's voice answered. Smooth. Confident. Emma recognized the tone, the voice of someone who thought they'd won. Khalid. I was wondering when you'd figure it out. Vanessa. Why? Why? She laughed. You're seriously asking me why? You married me knowing you'd never actually share anything with me. That prenup guaranteed I'd always be an outsider. When we divorced, I got $5 million while you kept an empire worth hundreds of millions. You made me feel worthless. Disposable. So you tried to destroy my family? I tried to take what should have been mine from the beginning. The Alexandria contract would have been worth $6 billion. If I couldn't have your company, I'd take the deal instead. But you were in the way. You're always in the way. Khalid's voice went cold. You framed Tariq. An innocent kid who never did anything to you. Collateral damage. Omar told me Tariq's arrest would break you. Make you vulnerable. I didn't actually want him in prison, just scared enough that you'd withdraw from Alexandria. Emma felt sick. This woman had destroyed lives like it was a business transaction. Where's the evidence you have against Steele? Vanessa continued. The recordings, the banking records, the proof. I assume the FBI has it all by now. Yes. Steele and Omar are both in custody. Good. Vanessa's voice brightened. Then they'll take the fall. You have your conspirators. Your brother is free. Your cousin is safe. Everyone gets their happy ending. Except you never find me. I'm already a Canadian permanent resident. They won't extradite me without concrete proof I was directly involved. And since I was very careful not to leave any evidence connecting me to the actual crimes, only to Omar, who's facing life in prison and won't testify against me, I'm untouchable. The line went quiet, waiting for Khalid's response. You're right, Khalid said quietly. You were very careful. Too careful, actually. What does that mean? It means you're not in Toronto. Khalid's voice hardened. You're in New York. And you have been this whole time. The silence on the other end stretched. You're bluffing, Vanessa said, but her voice had changed. Less confident. More defensive. Am I? Vincent, tell her where she is. Vincent pulled up a tracking map. Your phone is pinging from a cell tower in Brooklyn. Red Hook, specifically. An industrial warehouse district near the waterfront. That's impossible. I'm in. You're using a VPN to spoof your location. But cell tower data doesn't lie. You never left New York. You've been here watching everything unfold. Probably planned to slip out of the country once you confirmed we arrested the right people. Emma realized what Khalid was doing. He was forcing Vanessa to reveal herself. Vanessa's voice turned to ice. Fine. You found me. What are you going to do? Call the FBI? Have them raid some warehouse? By the time they get here, I'll be gone. I have a boat waiting. 30 minutes and I'll be in international waters. You lose, Khalid. Just like you always do when it matters. Meet me, Khalid said. Everyone in the room stared at him. What? Vanessa sounded genuinely surprised. Meet me. Face to face. One conversation. No FBI. No Vincent. No recording devices. Just you and me. If you're going to disappear forever, at least have the courage to look me in the eye first. Why would I do that? Because you want to. You spent 2 years planning this revenge. You want to see my face when I realize you got away with it. You want that moment of victory. The silence stretched for 10 seconds. Pier 57, Vanessa said finally. Midnight. Come alone. If I see anyone else, FBI, security, anyone, I'm gone. You get one chance. The call ended. Agent Torres stood up. You're not seriously considering this. I am. Khalid looked at Vincent. Can you track her phone to the exact location? Already on it. But this is a trap. She wants you alone and vulnerable. I know. But she's right, without her testimony or concrete evidence linking her to the actual crimes, she walks away clean. Omar won't testify against her. Steele might, but his lawyers will tie that up in courts for years. I need a confession. Want to know if he gets it? Subscribe now. Then wire yourself, Emma said. Hidden microphone. Record everything. If she searches me, she'll find it. Then I'll wear the wire. Emma's voice was steady. I'll hide nearby. Record everything. She doesn't know what I look like. She won't be watching for me. Khalid turned to face her. Emma, no. This isn't your fight anymore. Yes, it is. The moment she wrote my name on that wall in my own blood, it became my fight. Emma stood up. You need proof. I'll get you proof. Vincent shook his head. Both of you are insane. But if we're doing this, we do it my way. Full surveillance team. Snipers in position. The moment she threatens you, we move in. Agreed. Khalid checked his watch. We have 4 hours until midnight. Emma felt her heart hammering. In 4 hours, she'd either help catch the person who tried to destroy Khalid's entire life. Or she'd watch Vanessa Crawford disappear forever, untouchable and victorious. The final confrontation was coming. And Emma had no idea if they'd survive it. 11:47 p.m. Emma crouched behind a shipping container on Pier 57, her entire body trembling from cold and adrenaline. The Hudson River stretched behind her, black and endless. Manhattan's lights glittered across the water like scattered diamonds. The wire taped to her chest felt like ice against her skin. Vincent had positioned 3 snipers on surrounding buildings. FBI surveillance vans were parked 6 blocks away, ready to move. But none of that made Emma feel safer. Khalid stood alone in the center of the pier under a single flickering streetlight. He'd arrived 10 minutes early. Now he waited, hands in his coat pockets, his breath visible in the freezing December air. At 11:58, a figure emerged from the shadows at the far end of the pier. Vanessa Crawford. Even from 30 yards away, Emma could see why Khalid had fallen for her. Tall, elegant, confident. She wore a long black coat and moved like someone who'd never been afraid of anything in her life. Dark hair caught the streetlight as she approached Khalid. They stood 10 feet apart. Not close enough to touch. Close enough to destroy each other. "You came," Vanessa said. Her voice carried across the cold air. "I said I would. No Vincent. No FBI. I'm impressed." Vanessa circled him slowly, studying. "You always were predictable. Honor and family. The 2 things that make you weak. Is that why you married me? To find my weaknesses? I married you because I loved you." Vanessa stopped circling. "Or I thought I did. Until I realized you'd never actually let me in. The prenup proved that. You wanted a wife, not a partner. So you spent 2 years planning revenge. I spent 2 years taking what should have been mine." Vanessa pulled out her phone. The Alexandria contract. $6 billion. With Steele and Omar arrested, Magnus Energy withdraws their bid. Your company withdraws because your family's too damaged by scandal. And Crawford International steps in as the only remaining serious bidder. Khalid's voice was ice. "You framed my brother. You tried to have me killed. I paid people to scare you. The car brakes? That was Omar's idea, not mine. He got overzealous. I just wanted you broken, not dead." Vanessa smiled. "Though if you had died, it would have solved my problems faster." Subscribe, every word is being recorded. Emma's wire caught everything. The confession. The admission. The cold calculation behind 2 years of destruction. Why Tariq? Khalid's voice broke slightly. He's 24 years old. He never hurt you. Because Omar said it would destroy you. And he was right. The moment Tariq was arrested, you fell apart. Started making mistakes. Trusted a random waitress with your secrets. Vanessa laughed. Speaking of which, where is Emma Torres? I expected you to bring her. Your new little protector. Emma's blood went cold. Vanessa knew her name. Knew she was important to Khalid. She's safe. Far away from you. Shame. I was hoping to meet her. The girl who saved the Sheikh. Vanessa's voice turned mocking. Did you actually give her your father's ring? Omar told me about that. So romantic. The billionaire and the waitress. Like a fairy tale. This conversation is over. Khalid turned to leave. Not quite. Vanessa pulled something from her coat. Not a gun. A phone. She held up the screen. One button sends an email to 50 journalists worldwide. Every detail of your family's scandal. The drug trafficking allegations. The corporate fraud. The evidence against Tariq. Real or fake doesn't matter, by the time your lawyers sort it out, your reputation is destroyed and Alexandria is mine. Khalid froze. You said the evidence against Tariq was fabricated. It is. But the public won't know that for months. Maybe years. And by then, Crawford International will have the contract. That's blackmail. That's business. Vanessa's finger hovered over the send button. Here's the deal. You withdraw from Alexandria tomorrow morning. Publicly. Cite family reasons. Take time away from your company to focus on Tariq's defense. In exchange, I delete this email and the evidence disappears. Your brother stays free. Your family reputation survives. And you get $6 billion. I get what you owe me. Vanessa's voice turned cold. 3 years of being treated like an accessory. 3 years of prenups and family meetings I wasn't invited to. 3 years of being told I wasn't good enough for the Al-Rashid name. This is what you pay for making me feel invisible. Emma felt those words like a knife. Making someone feel invisible. That's what Vanessa was claiming Khalid had done to her. The same thing the world had done to Emma for years. But there was a difference. Emma had used her invisibility to observe, to learn, to survive. Vanessa had used hers to plan destruction. You have until tomorrow morning, Vanessa continued. 9 a.m. Withdraw your bid or I press send. Choose wisely, Khalid. Your brother's freedom or your father's legacy. You can't have both. She turned to walk away. Wait, Khalid called out. There's something you should know. Vanessa stopped. Turned back. What? Emma Torres isn't far away. She's here. She's been here the whole time. Recording every word you just said. Vanessa's face went white. She spun, scanning the shadows. Emma stayed frozen behind the shipping container, barely breathing. You're bluffing. Am I? Khalid pulled out his phone. Pressed play. Vanessa's voice filled the pier. I spent 2 years taking what should have been mine. I paid people to scare you. I framed my brother. Vanessa lunged for Khalid's phone. He stepped back. Red laser dots appeared on Vanessa's chest. 3 of them. Sniper targeting. Vincent's voice boomed from speakers. Vanessa Crawford, you're under arrest. Put your hands in the air. Now. FBI vehicles flooded the pier from both ends. Agents poured out, weapons drawn. Vanessa stood frozen, her phone still in her hand. Her finger still on the send button. If I press this, she shouted, everything goes public. You all lose. Khalid stepped closer. Press it. Send the emails. I don't care anymore. My brother is innocent. The truth will come out eventually. But you? You'll spend 20 years in prison for conspiracy, blackmail, and attempted murder. Was your revenge worth that? Vanessa's hand shook. Tears streamed down her face. She pressed the button. Then dropped the phone and raised her hands. Emma's world tilted. Vanessa had actually sent it. In seconds, 50 journalists would have evidence that could destroy the Al-Rashid name for years. Khalid pulled out his own phone. Except your email went nowhere. Vincent hacked your phone an hour ago. Rerouted all your outgoing messages to a dummy server. Nothing sent. You have nothing. Vanessa screamed. The sound echoed across the river. FBI agents moved in. Need to know what happens next. Subscribe, it's not over. Emma emerged from behind the shipping container, her wire still recording. She walked toward Khalid as agents handcuffed Vanessa and read her rights. You knew she'd press send, Emma said quietly. I knew she'd try. Some people would rather destroy everything than admit defeat. They watched Vanessa being led away, still screaming, still fighting. Is it really over? Emma asked. Khalid looked at her. One more chapter. Tomorrow morning. But tonight, you should rest. You saved me, Emma. You saved all of us. Emma wanted to believe him. But something in Vincent's expression as he approached made her stomach drop. We have a problem, Vincent said quietly. Yasmin woke up an hour ago. And she's telling the doctors a very different story about who kidnapped her. 12:47 a.m. Mount Sinai Hospital, Upper East Side. Emma stood outside Yasmin's private room while Khalid spoke with doctors in hushed tones. Vincent had driven them straight from Pier 57, lights flashing, breaking every traffic law. Through the small window in the door, Emma could see Yasmin sitting upright in the hospital bed. Awake. Alert. And terrified. She won't talk to police, the doctor was saying. She's demanding to speak only to you, Mr. Al-Rashid. She says her life depends on it. Khalid pushed through the door. Emma followed before anyone could stop her. She wasn't leaving his side now. Yasmin looked terrible, dark circles under her eyes, bruises on her wrists from restraints, hospital gown hanging off her thin frame. But when she saw Khalid, relief flooded her features. Thank God. Khalid, you have to listen to me. They're going to try to tell you I helped Vanessa, that I took the money willingly, that I betrayed you. You did take $5 million from Magnus Energy. Khalid's voice was flat. We have the bank records. Yes. I took the money. But not for myself. Yasmin's voice cracked. They have my daughter. They've had Layla for 3 weeks. They said if I didn't do exactly what they told me, they'd kill her. The money was proof I'd cooperated. But I never wanted to hurt Tariq. I never wanted any of this. Emma felt ice spreading through her chest. Where's Layla now? I don't know. Tears streamed down Yasmin's face. The people who took me, they weren't working for Vanessa or Steele. They were someone else. Someone bigger. They kept asking me questions about Khalid's security, his routines, where he'd be vulnerable. Khalid stepped closer. Who, Yasmin? Who took you? I don't know their names. They wore masks. But one of them, she swallowed hard. One of them had an accent. Not American. Not British. Middle Eastern. Like ours. And when he spoke Arabic on the phone to someone else, I heard a name. Just once. Rashad. The room went silent. Vincent spoke from the doorway. Rashad al-Rashid. Your father's younger brother. The one who disappeared 20 years ago after being cut out of the family business. Khalid's face went ashen. Rashad is dead. He died in a car accident in Morocco in 2006. Did anyone actually see his body? Vincent asked. The question hung in the air like smoke. Khalid pulled out his phone, making calls. Speaking rapid Arabic. Emma watched his face cycle through disbelief, shock, and finally, horror. He hung up. There was never a body. Rashad's car went off a cliff. They found wreckage but no remains. Everyone assumed he died. No one looked deeper. Why would he fake his death? Emma asked. Because my father cut him out completely. Gave him nothing when the empire was divided. Rashad swore revenge. Threatened the family. Then he vanished. Khalid's voice went hollow. We thought he gave up and left. But he didn't leave. He's been planning this for 20 years. Subscribe, the real enemy just revealed himself. Yasmin grabbed Khalid's arm. He said something else. When I was tied up. He was on the phone with someone, thought I was unconscious. He said, Phase 1 is complete. Steele and Crawford take the fall. The Sheikh loses everything. And we finally take back what should have been ours. Phase 1. Emma's mind raced. That means there's a phase 2. Vincent was already on his laptop. If Rashad has been planning this for 20 years, he's not just after money. He wants the entire Al Rashid empire. Everything. Khalid's phone buzzed. Unknown number. Text message. He opened it. A photo loaded. A little girl, maybe 8 years old, sitting in a dim room. Layla. Yasmin's daughter. Alive but clearly terrified. Below the photo, tomorrow morning. 9 a.m. You make the announcement withdrawing from Alexandria. Then you sign over controlling interest in Al Rashid Industries to a company I designate. Do this, and Layla goes home. Refuse, and she joins her grandfather in death. You have 9 hours to decide. Choose wisely, nephew. Uncle Rashad. Yasmin collapsed into sobs. Khalid stared at the message like it was written in fire. He wants everything, Emma whispered. The oil deal was just the first step. He wants your entire company. If I sign it over, I lose everything my father built. The empire. The legacy. Everything. Khalid's voice was barely audible. But if I refuse, an 8-year-old girl dies because of my family's greed. Vincent checked his watch. 9 hours. We need to find where Rashad is holding Layla. Fast. We'll never find her in time. Yasmin's voice was broken. He's been planning this for 2 decades. He has resources, safe houses, people we don't know about. He's always 3 steps ahead. Emma stared at the photo of Layla. Something about the background caught her attention. She zoomed in. Behind the little girl was a wall. Not concrete like the basement Yasmin had been held in. This was different. Wood paneling. Old-fashioned. And in the corner, barely visible, a logo. Circular. Faded but recognizable. That's a cruise line logo, Emma said. From the 1980s. Royal Atlantic Cruises. They went bankrupt 30 years ago. Vincent pulled up his laptop. How do you know that? My grandfather worked for them. We have old promotional materials at my dad's house. Emma's hands shook as she typed on Vincent's computer. They had 3 ships. All decommissioned in 1994. One was scrapped. One was converted into a floating hotel in Dubai. And one was sold to a private buyer and turned into a... She pulled up an article. Photos of a massive ship docked permanently at a pier in Brooklyn. Converted into luxury apartments. Luxury apartments in Red Hook, Emma finished. The same neighborhood Vincent tracked Vanessa's phone to earlier. Khalid stared at the screen. Rashad bought a decommissioned cruise ship and turned it into apartments 30 years ago. Under a shell company. He's been hiding in plain sight for decades. And Layla is there right now. Vincent grabbed his phone. I'm calling FBI Tactical. We raid it. Now. No. Khalid's voice cut through. If Rashad sees FBI coming, he kills Layla. We need a different approach. Emma knew what he was thinking. She could see it in his eyes. You're going to give him what he wants, she said quietly. You're going to sign over the company. No. Yasmin grabbed his hand. Khalid, you can't. My daughter isn't worth everything your father built. Yes, she is. Khalid's voice was firm. Family first. That's what my father always said. I won't let a child die because of our family's past sins. He looked at Emma. But I need your help one more time. I need you to come with me to meet Rashad. I need a witness I can trust. Someone who's not family. Someone who can tell the world what really happened if this goes wrong. Emma should say no. Should run. She'd done enough. Risked enough. But she looked at the photo of Layla and thought about what Khalid had said to her at the restaurant. Help me survive the next 48 hours, and the Sheikh is yours. She'd saved him. Again and again. Now it was time for the final move. I'll come, Emma said. Let's finish this. 8:47 a.m. The decommissioned cruise ship loomed against Brooklyn's gray morning sky like a ghost from another era. Emma and Khalid stood at the entrance to what had once been the grand ballroom, now converted into a penthouse apartment spanning 3 floors. Vincent and FBI Tactical were positioned 2 blocks away. Close enough to respond. Too far to prevent disaster. The door opened. A man in his 60s stepped out, silver hair, expensive suit, and eyes identical to Khalid's. Rashad al-Rashid. The uncle everyone thought was dead. Nephew. And the famous waitress. Rashad's smile was cold. Come in. We have business to discuss. Inside, Layla sat on a velvet couch, unharmed but pale. A woman stood behind her, not threatening, but present. Insurance. Khalid pulled out the documents. Controlling interest in Al-Rashid Industries. Signed over to your designated company. Now release Layla. Rashad took the papers, studying each page. Your father stole everything from me 30 years ago. Called me reckless. Unworthy. Cut me out like I was nothing. He looked up. Now I take it all back. Everything he built becomes mine. You win. Just let her go. Not quite. Rashad pulled out a gun. Because there's one more loose end. You. The last heir. Once you're dead, I inherit everything legitimately. No legal challenges. No complications. Emma's blood froze. This was never about the company. It was about complete annihilation. You kill me, the FBI raids this place in 60 seconds, Khalid said calmly. Let them. I'll be gone. And you'll be dead. Rashad aimed the gun. Emma stepped in front of Khalid. Wait. There's something you don't know. Rashad's eyes narrowed. What? Those documents? Khalid didn't sign over his company. He signed over a shell company Vincent created last night. You get nothing. The real Al-Rashid Industries stays with Khalid. Subscribe, the final twist changes everything. Rashad's face contorted with rage. You're lying. Check the registration. Emma's voice was steady. The company listed doesn't exist. You fell for the same trick you've been pulling for 20 years. For 3 seconds, nobody moved. Then chaos. The woman behind Layla lunged forward. FBI explosives blew the door open. Vincent charged in with tactical teams. Rashad aimed at Khalid. Emma grabbed a marble statue from a side table and swung. It connected with Rashad's wrist. The gun clattered across the floor. Khalid scooped up Layla and ran. Rashad dove for the gun. Emma kicked it away. FBI agents swarmed him. 30 seconds later, Rashad al-Rashid was in handcuffs, screaming about family betrayal and stolen legacies. 3 months later. Emma stood outside the Pinnacle restaurant. She hadn't been back since that Friday night when everything changed. Now she wore a tailored suit instead of a uniform. Khalid waited inside at table 12. You came, he said when she sat down. You asked. Khalid pulled out a small box. Not the signet ring this time. Something else. I told you at the pier, help me survive 48 hours, and the Sheikh is yours. You did more than survive. You saved me. My family. Everything. Emma opened the box. Inside was a key. Key to what? Al-Rashid Industries. Director of International Relations. 6-figure salary. Your own office. Your father's medical bills covered for life. Khalid's dark eyes held hers. And if you want more than just a job, if you want. His phone buzzed. Both their faces went pale. Unknown number. One message: Rashad had a son. He's coming for you both. This isn't over. It's just beginning. Emma and Khalid locked eyes across the table. The fight they thought they'd won was only the opening move. And somewhere in the shadows, someone new was planning their destruction. Subscribe, because some stories never really end. They just evolve.